So it's 5:30 and I'm calling this meeting to order. First, a reminder that meetings of the Select Board are meetings conducted in public. They are not meetings of the public. Nonetheless, members of the public shall be afforded reasonable opportunities to express opinions about matters conducted by the Select Board so long as order is maintained. The rules for public comment are: at the conclusion of a Select Board discussion on an agenda item, but before any action is taken, there may be 10 minutes afforded to public comment. Comments made by the public must be addressed to the chair or to the Select Board as a whole, and not to any individual members of the Select Board or members of the public. Members of the public must be acknowledged by the chair before speaking. If a member of the public has already spoken on a topic, they shall not be recognized again until others have first been given the opportunity to comment. Order and decorum shall be maintained throughout the meeting. Personal, impertinent, threatening, or profane remarks will not be tolerated. For those who are participating via Zoom, please note that chat is not an appropriate avenue for public comment. All public comments must be made verbally when acknowledged by the chair. Please silence all cell phones, and a reminder to all that this meeting is being recorded and may appear on the internet. So, are there adjustments to the order of the agenda?
I have none.
You have none? Does anybody else have anything they need to change around? Okay. So the next is the approval of minutes of October 18th, 2023, which was a regular meeting, and October 24th, which was the public hearing for the town plan. Charlie, were you there for the 18th?
Yes.
You were, okay. And were you there for the public hearing?
Yes.
You were there for both, okay. Okay, good. So then we can do it as a slate. So can I
Make a
hear?
motion to approve the minutes of October 18th and 24th.
Okay, can I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of October 18th and October 24th. Anything glaring? No? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to the warrants to the treasurer. Can I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve and execute the warrants to the treasurer upon completion of review.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the warrants to the treasurer upon completion of review. Karen, you're up.
Payroll warrant dated November 3rd, 2023, in the amount of $20,426.04.
There's payroll that wasn't in the packet, right?
That's right, you have a loose sheet of
Got
paper.
it. Yep. All right. Any questions on payroll? Okay, moving on.
Accounts payable dated October 21st through November 3rd, 2023, in the amount of $107,749.30. In this warrant, you will see the social agencies, Group A. So those will go out in the mail tomorrow. Let me see. Other than that, MVP Healthcare. And I mean, there's a lot of little ones, but I thought it was going to be a small warrant, and it just added up.
Well, healthcare is a pretty big chunk there.
Yeah. Peak Motors, by the way, is $9,760.85. That is for the well pump.
The new one?
Yes, that was covered under the insurance claim.
Okay.
So
we'll get that back? Or most
we
of it back?
we already have it back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and there's really nothing else.
Town of Dummerston?
That is for half the bill to fix the screener
Oh, okay.
down at the pet.
Okay.
Veemers DB.
That is our retirement contribution that we make every payroll warrant.
Okay.
Vermont Municipal Employees Retirement System.
That is correct.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's the agenda, there it is. Okay, so the next thing is public comments on items not on the agenda. Does anybody on the select board have anything to say? All right, are there members in the room that have,
So there is a group here
okay,
from one of our BCRD task force.
okay, and that's,
So it's Kate Hudson, Gail Murray,
cool,
and
take it away.
Andy. Andy.
All right,
Andrew Cooper Ellis.
There we go.
okay, take it away.
Well, we are just with this group 3 in the Downtown Revitalization Task Force Committee, and our group was sort of, you know, thinking about promotions that we could do that would be sort of short-term, mid-term, long-term. And in our last meeting, which we sort of had a hiatus through the summer months, but we sort of picked up around the fall and talked about having an illumination of the town for the holiday season, and or through the winter months, also, you know, potentially having an investment in lights that we could use at other times of the year associated with events that might happen in town, you know, sort of letting businesses have a chance to kind of illuminate themselves, but also you know, to highlight the downtown village district. So we've been working on this, talking to property owners, business owners, townspeople, Karen, in terms of the town buildings, to outline the buildings with lights that are consistent, you know, that are uniform, something that we would potentially purchase through various sources of funding, whether it's donation by individual businesses that would use them, possibly Discover Putney funding and or town funding. So that's what we wanted to present this project. It's very time sensitive, obviously. We had hoped to have something maybe as an event in the center of town, along with perhaps putting a wagon out in the front of town hall on the lawn and lighting that up. And Fletcher Proctor had offered to let us use his field to put, say, a tractor or like an old truck to also outline in lights, just, you know, to kind of give people a sense of celebration and bring some light into town, because it really
Welcome people into our downtown.
welcome people into downtown and let people know that, you know, people are open for business. Might get dark at 5 o'clock, but, you know, people are in town, and there are events happening, and, you know, I'm sure that, for instance, last night's event was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. And, you know, these kinds of things could always utilize a little bit more lighting in town, I think. So, and that's what sort of the consensus of our group has been. It's one of our very short-term goals.
And hopefully before the weekend of the Putney Craft Tour, so we could have that. They asked us, or some of their members asked us, if this could happen then, so that weekend the town was lit up. And we also realized that the Putney Rec League is doing a sort of more of a winter event. So we probably wouldn't take that on this year because we're kind of last minute here. Our feeling is just to get the town lit up, so that people, when they're coming through, don't say, gee, it's such a very dark town. You know, they don't see any of our great businesses. And
It encourages people to stay out a little bit later as well. Come down and get a little sandwich or something, stroll the streets. I mean, if it's snowing, it's nice to come out with your family and just walk around. Any other types of events that are happening throughout the maybe 3 months that the lights would stay up would be, I think that it would be served well for anybody that's, you know, looking to do something either in the village center. We're hoping to start right as people come up Route 5 and enter town from the fire department on up.
you've named this particular,
It's called Putney Shines,
Okay.
so that's what we're sticking with for now.
And we're hoping that, because we think we'll use the lights and the light idea and the whole Putney Shines idea in future, like for a summer event, for other events, that we could, you know, sort of get that going maybe as an idea, that Putney Shines. Anyway, that's what we came up with.
Okay.
What's your source for the lighting? In other words, where are you going to get the lights from?
We're in process of researching that. We've
Okay.
asked, I mean, this is relatively new. We've been working on it for about a week or so, maybe 10 days. So really looking into, we're gonna contact Efficiency Vermont, that was a suggestion. We did look that up today, just to see what we could possibly use for, you know, efficient lighting, if they have programs. We've looked into solar lights for some, especially places that don't have outlets, things that could wrap around maybe split rail fences, like in front of the Yellow Barn. Many businesses have already, and services in town have already jumped onto the idea. Don't always know if they have outlets, don't know if they have the people to put it up, but we're gonna be looking for the volunteers to actually go ahead and decorate places, and if people need it. If people need the funding, you know, we're trying to buy the lights, and then either be reimbursed for that, you know, potentially get the money through a loan. There may be grants out there. I don't think we have time to apply for that, but we're hoping that we just, you know, can do either a fundraising event if we need to reimburse perhaps a fund like Discover Putney, or potentially we may have to just limit the amount of lights that we do get and go around and tell people this is what we have for you, you know, something like that.
Okay. Are you looking?
But we're open to lots of suggestions about sources.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of need we've heard from a lot of local businesses that they want this to happen, and that they find the downtown is not sort of as well lit as it could be to invite tourists to stay and shop in downtown.
Yeah, I just have two suggestions, or two things to consider if you haven't already. One is kind of the time limit of when the lights would be on at night and when they would be turned off at night. As somebody who lives in the village, I'm all for lighting the village, but I also want it to be dark at night, you know, so like, you know, just taking that into consideration, like when would the lights go off in the evening? And the second point is, you know, from what you're saying, it sounds cool. I like the idea of it, and it doesn't sound like anything you've said thus far is like Christmas focused.
Right.
And I'm really glad that that is not
We
the
are
case.
fully aware of that. We
Yeah.
want it to be a secular event, really an illumination of town.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get away from the fact that, in fact, the Friday after Thanksgiving kicks off a almost nationwide $1 trillion business, you know, extravaganza for the country and also for the community here. It is important. However, we're really aware of that, which is why if we get something neutral that can be used for other events and throughout the year, it would be, you know, just a multi-use type of thing. The other thing is that we were thinking about if we were to have, for instance, a tractor outlined, a wagon outlined, and maybe a tree that had sap buckets around it outlined, and feature things that are really important about Putney. You know, what, in addition to the arts community, maybe they could put some type of a sculpture out that we could outline. Something that says these are the things that this town represents as people come in. I think, you know, that's, some of the ideas may not happen this year. We're gonna just try to get as many lights up as we can. We're really short on time, but these are, hopefully we can accomplish most of those.
I mean, starting small is better than not starting at all, right?
right.
Are you it looks like you're hoping for mostly donations, but there's also, is this possible town funding? Is that something you're going to be seeking, do you think, or?
We were hoping that the town would at least be able to manage the funding for the town buildings. You know, if there was town funding for anything beyond that, that would be great, obviously.
Do we light stuff now? I feel like we've done that in the past sometimes.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
We do have a line item that, you know, we could use for lighting. I love the idea I think it's great, and if we can build on it, you know, the first year is always the hardest, but the fire station, the library, and town hall, we can utilize public property to
Yeah.
start it.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the idea.
All right. Ruby?
I wanted to just make a suggestion, if you haven't already, reach out to Bellows Falls. I don't know what her position is there, and I can't remember her last name, but there's like a town manager, not manager, there's someone named Betsy. I can try to find her, but many years ago, there was a grant that was sought that produced the wrapped trees, which are professionally wrapped.
Yeah, I was wondering about
And
that.
so like from a time scale and also cost perspective, that's like up here. But it would be a good goal, and one of the reasons I bring it up, I'm gonna take this one moment to say Halloween really was a success, and thank you so much to the select board and the town and the fire department for making that a success. My reflections last night were that there are opportunities, grant opportunities, and so I'm like sharing this with you guys and we can follow up. There are grant opportunities for event type things to give resources and infrastructure to make that stronger. One of them is the Better Places grant program, which is a short period. But I need to connect with Karen because if there's any other Better Places, it's just like one per township.
Right.
But I'm not sure we've gotten one. So I was reflecting on the event and thinking, what if we could do put some resource into that, lighting the road, and that got me thinking about lighting other things. And as with Bellows Falls, if you professionally wrap trees and wrap things, and even in many years ago in Brattleboro, that building on the corner across from I'm really bad with names,
Brooks?
but
Brooks
Brooks House
House, yeah.
is also professionally aligned, and I knew that was a Marlboro graduate who did that, and it's a lot harder than you think, and it costs a lot of money. So they might have some ideas about that too, but I think this is I think there's lots of implications for it, for other celebratory moments, but also in Bellows Falls is fun all the time. Yeah, it's just their light in town. And you can put timers and do all sorts of things and make them efficient, but if you're really serious about it, you're talking lots of money.
Well,
Yeah.
We know that, but that's why we're sort of starting small and figuring that it's nice to tie it to events too, which was the suggestion about starting the weekend at the craft tour and, going with the
And some of the things about the solar lights, kind of thinking ahead of, in terms of like festivals or anything that may happen, pop-ups or, anything where tents are involved, that those are lights that can be utilized in fields and, don't have to worry about electric sources, and they're efficient too, so, excuse me, I think they'd be pretty highly utilized. I don't know about the timers on those. I know that they have a certain amount of battery and they automatically, what I read about them, the ones that I looked into, would light up, they turn on right away, say 5 o'clock, and they have about a 6 hour window. I don't know, I can't.
Yeah, they normally, I have a bunch of different kinds actually at my house. So there are some that just turn on right at dusk and go on until the battery runs out.
Yeah.
And then there are other ones that do have an on-off switch, so you can kind of override that. Especially if you're, in this short sunlight time of the season where you probably want them to be on longer than they will be. If you can, turn them off and then let them charge, basically you'll get more out of them. They make a whole all sorts now. They make colored ones. They've really expanded. So
I have
go
a
ahead.
question. Peggy, do you have an idea of what in your mind would be a realistic time frame?
I don't know, I'm thinking if it's about the businesses, like business hours, maybe, like what time's co-op close? 8:30, 9 o'clock, I don't know, it just seems like, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know, I don't really know, I hadn't thought about it until right now.
Right.
We can
I
take
guess,
that off
I
offline.
think what we were all thinking about was if there was an event in town, for instance, at the next stage, those are generally, you know, they start at 7, they're over at 9 or 10.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
seems, I think that's sort of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What we
That's
talked about.
a business in town and that's their hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So that's probably something you want to just maybe survey the residents about, what time they would feel comfortable having them on, but that's not something we need to discuss at the moment because we do have other things on the agenda.
Yeah.
But this is a great idea. I think the board's on board with it. Make Putney shine.
Shine on.
Okay, are there other comments on items not on the agenda online? Any other comments in the room on items not on the agenda? Anything on the select board? Okay, moving on to the town manager's report.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are welcome to stay. We're lots of fun.
All right, so quickly, Banning Road has 3 new culverts in it. Grading has been ongoing. Some mowing did get done. The water pump was gone in the tractor, and it took a while for us to get the pump and then have it put in. But some of the areas where no
Like
one
the
could see.
roadside mowing, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Sun Hill was one place where people couldn't see.
Okay.
But, and now that it's snowing, I don't think we're gonna see any mowing.
You never know.
Not today, anyway.
Yeah, no mowing today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Gail.
Thank you.
River Road South paving won't take place until the spring. It's too late this season. And then, just to let everyone know, the winter parking ban is in effect as of today, November 1st through April 15th. So there's absolutely no parking on, especially in the village, on the street or on Route 5.
During, I mean, no parking at all, but like
During
what?
the evening.
Okay,
So it's like from midnight to 7 a.m.
okay.
So you can utilize like town hall parking if you need to. And there are some multifamily rentals that have their own parking. So we have sent notices out that this is now in effect because sometimes cars do get towed. Let's see, the auditor was in the house today. She's supposed to be here for 2 days, but she has an office meeting tomorrow, so she won't be traveling back down to Putney. But she's confident she's got everything she needs. If we feel we want another meeting with her, she'll rearrange her schedule and come back down, but we'll take a look at that, Kim and I. But I think we're pretty
Pretty good?
we're
Okay.
pretty good. We may see a draft report mid-December.
Okay.
AP Triton, as far as I know, they were still waiting on some data. I have a Zoom conference with Rich Buchanan and Chief Goddard on Monday at 2 o'clock. They are coming into town. AP Triton will be here November 14, 15, and 16. And as far as I know right now, the chief and I will be working with them for 3 days.
Okay.
So I will keep you posted.
Okay.
Website design with Revise. So I went ahead and I signed a contract with Revise.
Good.
So Rachel is our main contact, and Peg, I don't know if you saw the
I did,
email.
and I'm gonna come.
Oh,
I can-
perfect.
It works for me, yeah.
Oh, good.
Or it's Zoom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have a project kickoff meeting. So Rachel, myself, and Peg. So I think this is going to be a good process. Second installment of property taxes are due Friday, November 17th, before close of business day at 4:30. We're in pretty good shape, I feel. Right now, we have delinquent taxes, which means 22 back, 61,000, oh, excuse me, $88,753.01. So of that, $61,272.26 is for 22.
Okay, so the rest of it is before that.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will be collecting, money's starting to come in now. Our big payments will come in probably next week or the week after. So the week that AP Triton is here for 3 days is also the week that we're collecting taxes.
Okay.
So I have faith in my staff that they're going to be on the rush. But, and we have a select board meeting on that Wednesday as well.
Oh, good.
So, all kinds of stuff happening.
Just pack it all in.
Yeah, it just happened that way.
Yeah, that does happen.
So, I'll do a report after collection.
Okay.
And then as far as utility billing, currently what's owed is $22,117.84.
And that was just due, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But that keeps coming in too, so I'm not too concerned about that. I do have about 6 people that are, habitual that are on the list. I'm gonna have to send some letters out.
Okay.
And just to let the board know too, I probably have 3 properties in Putney that I will be talking to the attorney about a tax sale. Unfortunately, 2 haven't responded and the 3rd one has a payment agreement with me, but they're not doing it. They're not making payments. So I could wait until February because we probably have more, but I'm not willing to do that right now. So.
Okay.
Let's see. KRT appraisers met with the listers on Monday. They will be sending out postcards to the outlying areas of the village. So they are starting on Putney Mountain, Banning Road, Holland Hill, that area.
Okay.
So what they do is they'll have sections. Postcards will go out to all property owners that they're going to come out and look. And then they'll move on to a different section of town. So we have posted the notice that's going to be going out. It's on Facebook and it's on the town website. I would just say if anybody has any questions, they need to call the lister's office. And there should be maybe 5 different assessors in Putney.
Okay.
So we'll see how the first area does and we'll go from there. The other thing too is about anyone that was issued a permit for zoning for any development or changes. The appraiser will be aware of it, and if it's only 40% complete, they'll go back out in the spring.
Cool.
Before the grand list is launched.
Great.
So, and right now we have about 30 permits that were issued for the year. I expect a few more. So I also have, or will be sending out a contract to Haven House Consulting from Middletown Springs, Vermont. They are the grant writer.
Great.
So I'm going to get them on board. Our focus will be on the town hall renovation, but with the way grants are coming and going, I think we're going to be shifting, but this is a new process for me, hiring a grant writer and working with them. I also expect that they're going to be working with the planning commission.
Yeah.
So we have a lot going on right now.
Yes, we do.
Water and sewer is 2nd and 3rd priority as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
we'll see how it goes.
I'm glad we found somebody, that's good.
Yeah. The other thing too is, this company, so one of the partners is actually, a town manager in a Vermont municipality, and, of the same size as Putney.
Yeah.
And they are doing a town hall renovation.
Okay,
So
so
it's
they're experienced.
coincidental,
Okay.
and, you know, he knows they know what they're gonna be looking for
Mhm.
and going after, and they've already started doing that research. So,
Good, so you can pick their brain.
right.
Awesome. And not compete for the same.
Right.
Right.
Well, there's that.
We've submitted the bylaw modernization grant application that was submitted on Monday, and today we submitted the municipal planning grant application for the housing needs assessment.
Okay. Good,
So,
we'll see where those land.
yeah,
Do they tell us when they're due by, not due by, but when the
When
answer is
they're
due by? Like, when will we know?
when will we know? Probably like within a week.
Oh, really? That's,
Yeah. The other grant too that we haven't heard about yet is the SeVEDS. The southeast, come on, help me out, Meg.
Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies?
Yes. Yeah.
Do we have a,
Yeah, we put in for a project for town hall renovation.
oh, right, through the community facilities. I think they should have decided on all this, so I can check.
Yeah,
Not if it will do community facilities, it should have been.
yeah. So we haven't heard about that one
Okay,
yet.
so I'm making check on that.
So,
all right,
and if that comes through, that's gonna be huge too.
okay. Yeah. Yeah,
So we're just gonna step back now and we're gonna regroup, and then, come spring we'll have more grants and. It's like-
it's a never-ending cycle,
Yeah.
it just goes round and round.
Yeah. And I just want to say to Ruby that I did not attend the Halloween event, but I have to say the pictures that I saw, it looked like it was a great time. So.
I hope you saw a picture of Tom Goddard being attacked.
I
by a
did.
White chicken.
That was one of my faves.
I did, but I just want to say, this event keeps growing year after year, and without your persistence and doing it every year, kudos to you. Thank you very much for
Thanks.
coordinating that. I know it's a big effort, and,
Well, luckily it's a big effort of coordinating people who are really willing to do things. So
Yeah.
I get a lot of credit, but there's a lot of feet on the ground doing that
yeah.
work. But yes, if it wasn't me, if it wasn't you tapping me and saying it's time, and me coming in and going, oh, please close the road, and you guys decided to do it, we wouldn't have a thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I know, everyone works together, and it's great. So thank you.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
thank everyone else that's involved, because I think this is an important event.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, the candy donation alone just, makes it much easier for those of us who set those stations up, because that's a lot of candy. Yeah,
So that's all I have for
Okay.
the report.
all right. Does the select board have any questions? Any questions online on the town manager's report? Any questions in the room? Comments? Okay, moving on to the boards, committees, and commissions. We have the Native American Heritage Month from the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee. Swift just got online. Is that your?
That's Nate.
That's you.
Nate's got it.
Me, yeah, I'll take care of it.
All right, Nate's got it.
All right. The Equity and Inclusion Committee of the Town of Putney, Vermont stands united in support of Native American Heritage Month. This annual observance celebrated throughout the month of November, provides us with the opportunity to recognize, honor, and celebrate the rich cultural traditions, history, and contributions of Native Americans to our nation and our community. Here in southern Vermont, we acknowledge that we are occupying unceded land of the indigenous Abenaki people. Native American Heritage Month invites us to reflect upon the enduring legacy of the indigenous people and acknowledge the injustices they have faced throughout history. It is time for all of us to learn and grow together, fostering a deeper understanding and respect for the diverse indigenous cultures that continue to thrive in the face of adversity. In 1990, a joint resolution was passed by Congress and signed into law by the late President George H.W. Bush, proclaiming November as the Native American Heritage Month. This proclamation recognizes that our Native American ancestors were instrumental not only in the development of the land, but also in their influence on freedom of speech and balance of power that power that were essential in the political systems and influenced the formulation of the government of the United States. As of 2021, there are 574 federally recognized tribes, but many more are still seeking recognition. We invite community members to take advantage of this observance by checking out some of our local organizations and events. Atui is an Elnu Abenaki community initiative to collaborate with others to illustrate the sense of place to the land. A recent event included a guided walk on the West River to explore petroglyphs. Vermont Abenaki Artists Association Beyond the Curve special exhibit will be showing from now through January 23rd, 2024 at the University of Vermont Medical Center. This is a collection of art and stories that were gathered by the Vermont Abenaki Artists Association through the Abenaki Storytelling Project during the time of the pandemic and its impact on their personal resilience. Abenaki Arts and Education Center, this organization, AAEC, seeks to provide resources to the schools and colleges about Abenaki history and culture with a desire to create more opportunities to increase authentic curriculum. This is a well-resourced online site.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Select board have any comments? I just wanted to say that the Elnu Abenaki actually purchased a piece of land right on the West River there. There's a building there. I don't know if the building is open to the public yet, but I know they're keeping the access open to that West River trail. So you should check it out.
Where is that?
It's right after, so it's the, you know where the bridge is, okay, so you know where the marina is and you're coming into Brattleboro, it's the house right on the hill, right? It burned a few years ago, so what's left is like a
Oh, yeah.
garage.
Oh, yeah.
So
like across from the marina, across the bridge.
like you could see it
Yeah.
from, yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. I only know that because I work for the town of Brattleboro. So that, that's one location. Swift, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to give Jill Hinckley, one of our newer members, credit for writing that. She did the research for that. I helped a bit, but it was mostly her. So thanks to new members.
Yay. Okay, thank you. Are there comments in the room, Ruby?
So I am the coordinator of Putney Community Cares, and Putney Community Cares put that walk together, the petroglyphs walk, which actually was at that location where the Elnu Abenaki, their kind of home base, that's the Atawi project is there. Rich Chute gave the talk, and I wanted to just mention that we had 85 people who came.
Wow.
It was enormous.
Wow, that's
and
great.
what that says to me is that there are a lot of opportunities and people are really hungry for knowledge and understanding. And so that is a really powerful thing. I think if we reflect on that and think about what opportunities could we have. And also, that was supported by a grant from United Way of Windham County to Putney Community Cares, and we had an Indigenous Stories kind of portion of our grant. And we've commissioned an artist, one of the artists who's going up to Burlington tomorrow. He's coming for a meeting here because we commissioned a piece of art that will hang in the Putney Central School library. So once that's once that happens, it'll be out on social media and we'll try to get the word out. But I think this is a great initiative to try to bring awareness.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, excuse me, are there any more comments in the room? Any other comments online? All right, thank you Nate, Swift, and Jill, and the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee for putting that together. So the next piece, we're moving right along to select board items, new business. We have a request for increase in water and sewer allocation for 103 Main Street, which is us being the sewer and water commissioners. This is for Don King, and you're Don, right?
Yes, so Don is in the audience here. So this is 103 Main Street. Originally, there was 2 apartments already in the building,
Okay.
and Don is requesting an increase in allocation for a 3rd apartment.
Okay.
So in the packet, you have your Dawn's sewer allocation and her water allocation, along with a memo from Michael Marquis, who is a certified engineer. And his flow information is here. And so basically, it's going to be an increase of, she's going to be going from 2 ERUs to 3, basically. Okay, and what changes for the water is an increase in flow, but also an increase in the water volume charge, which is going to 3 units.
Okay.
She has 2 right now. Let me just see. So the water, she's going to be going from 720 gallons per day up to 1,080 gallons per day. And they estimate that as like maximum flow, but she may never get there.
Okay.
You know, it may be lower, but just for engineering purposes, and this memo along with your letter, if you approve the increase, has to go to the state of Vermont wastewater division
Okay.
with an application for that increase. That's not in
just
here.
for the oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't deal with the state wastewater permit. The engineer does that.
Okay, so we don't have to take action on that part.
No.
Okay, all right.
No. And then for the sewer folks, so basically, the engineer has estimated for 2 units, it's 420 gallons per day, and the increase is going to be to 630 gallons per day. So the way we do the formula, because she's adding the 3rd apartment,
Mm-hmm.
the way the formula works is you take 250 gallons and you divide it into the maximum flow. That's how we get the equivalent residential units to charge for the appropriate rate. So,
Okay.
okay, so I can tell you there's enough allocation to make this increase.
Okay.
So it's a residential unit. It's not going to come online right away because she's still doing renovation in the building.
Mm-hmm.
But the connection is already there for both water and sewer, so there's no connection.
Okay.
So it's strictly an increase in allocation.
Okay. And so water is metered, right?
Water is metered.
But the sewer is not.
No.
Okay. Okay. And can we do this as a slate?
You can.
All right. Does the select board have any questions or concerns about
Don,
this?
do you want to add anything?
It's all here. Okay.
It is all here.
All right.
It's all Greek to me.
All right. So if nobody has any questions, can I hear a motion to approve the application for wastewater allocation and connection? The increase from 2 units to 3 units for sewer, and the increase from for water from 720 to 1080.
So moved.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the application for wastewater allocation to increase from 2 unit ERUs to 3 ERUs, and for water to go from 720 gallons per day to 1080 gallons per day. Are there further questions among the board? Any comments online? Any comments in the room? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you're all set.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I'll write a letter to Michael tomorrow, and then he'll either reach out to you or send the application straight to the state. All right? And I'll make sure I CC you as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Dawn.
Great,
All
Dawn.
right, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the SeVEDS Select Board overview and request for FY 2025 funding. And that's
Thank you guys for having me. So I don't know if anyone wants to, would the board like these? We have our annual reports available that we're really excited and
Sure, we'll take a few.
Okay. I just think everyone thinks these look really fancy, but I just want you to know we do them in-house. It's kind of a joint effort, so we feel like super proud.
all right. Well, then I'll take one.
We had it's like a designer, and then we all write little bits of it, and then director of programs tears her hair out over it, and we get it done. Anyway, so that is just a few. That's like probably more than you ever wanted to know about BDCC and SeVEDS, but there's no test on it, so just have it. But that really talks about what we do, and it goes into, and each program staff kind of writes their own little piece of it. So, I feel like when I come to Putney, it's really great because I also write the town impact reports for all the town reports. I'm doing that right now. So I have it on my screen because I just finished it today. I'm up to Putney. That means I'm a third of the way through. But we gather a lot of data and kind of look through it. And I love when I do Putneys because I'm like, oh, we do so much together. And so I think that's great. So just how our funding works is BDCC employs me. SeVEDS is where we request funding for. SeVEDS is a nonprofit organization that's an affiliate of BDCC, but it has its own board, its own budget, its own 501c3, and no staff. So SeVEDS gets us to go out and do the work. But SeVEDS is really the organization that kind of takes a look at regional economic development and recognizes that no town on its own can advance economic development initiatives. And so the SeVEDS is where we kind of gives us funding to do data collection, to spend time looking at all this stuff and kind of looking at the bigger picture, and then designing programs which then BDCC enacts to get the work done. Last year we go out to select boards across the region, so 27 towns, and last year we were funded by 86% of Wyndham Region residents, 21 towns, including Putney. So thanks a lot for that funding. It really supports the work we do, and we use that work to directly fund implementation of programs. Everyone knows about matching, that thing about matching funds. So sometimes we need matching funds in order to get a grant to fund our work. So we use those funds for that as we need to. We use it to build a regional economic development capacity and do that data collection. And then as seed funding, sometimes you need to start a program, sometimes you lose a funding source, but the program is still doing great work, and so we'll fill a gap to keep working. And I think our welcoming communities and workforce programs are a great example of that we've been chipping away, and we've recently just received a large fund from Northern Border Regional Commission, which allows us to continue that work, but we never would have been able to get there without kind of piecing it together over the years and just doing that work persistently. And so that's how we use that municipal funding. So in return, to think of the things we've been able to do for Putney, our business services team does technical support, micro lending, business succession services, you name it. Fill out a form and someone will call you back. So we provided assistance of some kind to 12 businesses in Putney last year, which is great. And then beyond that, by doing that work, we support jobs for hundreds of employers across the region. So a lot of people in Putney don't work in Putney, so we could be influencing someone's, helping an employer get a job for someone who lives in Putney that's not just in Putney. So it's the businesses we help directly in Putney, but just our entire support. The workforce team does programs like Pipelines and Pathways, which is doing amazing work in the regional high schools. So I just got the fun of going to the reality fair where sophomores and juniors from BUHS came to that and just kind of walked through and learned. It's like adulting 101, but it's really a great experience. And then the Wyndham Regional Career Center, they work really closely with a lot of the students there, just helping them make a plan. And so we just continue that work, and we'll continue to deepen that and build the relationships within the schools as much as we can to help kids graduate with a plan, and which is great. So then the community programs, we've worked a lot with Putney. I came to a couple of the VCRD visits. I've been in touch with the downtown revitalization group a few times. We've done some letters of support, and we're here for it. So we were just, sort of helping them through figuring out how to form an organization and working with their consultant, and we're here to support whatever needs to happen there. And so we're just, we take the emails and provide an answer. And so we were able to help get people to the Main Street Conference, which hopefully, there was just so much there, so hopefully that was productive. And we have 2 people from Putney attending so from getting on board, including Aileen, who was amazing. We did a presentation for the class of people who are currently serving in their communities, and it was really, I think, a great conversation. So, and we have another resident as well attending that. So just we are sort of on the ground trying to, trying to build community programs, help support town leadership, help build, grant writing capabilities, and run, just put resources that we know are available, make sure that other people know about them is basically what a lot of my job is just saying the stuff is here, share. I know you guys came to Aileen, and I think, Karen, did you come to our housing conference we did about a year ago? And it was just a way to connect local people, so we just, bring people together, bring in the resources. So that's what we do. We feel like we've had a really good relationship. We have a great relationship with Putney. We appreciate your support, and in turn, I love when I come to a town and I can say we have done a lot of things together over the year, because that feels good. Like, that's what we're here for. And so, we appreciate the ongoing funding support. In return, I think we give it back in terms of supporting the community, and I hope we're here to continue that. So if you have any questions, I will follow up on that community facilities. I don't know that, unfortunately, that program did not get funded again. No one's community facilities things got funded, so let me find out where they are in terms of the actual execution of things that had already been moving forward. But it's like, that's what we do. We kind of regroup and say, okay, we're going to do something else. If we don't have the community facilities technical assistance, we'll keep doing it. It's just we'll have to figure out what it's going to look like, and that's how we roll. So, but I'll follow up on that. If any people have other questions or areas, I can, if it's not my program, I can put you in touch with the person whose program it is.
I just want to say another thing that you're doing for Putney is we have a whole group of students from Landmark working on the Finding Vermont project, and that part of that welcoming communities project. So anyways, that's very exciting to see the students at Landmark involved in that too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a very wide-ranging program, which is really neat. It does a lot of work with welcoming communities. It lets them really connect the dots in a lot of different ways. So that's great that students are doing that.
Okay. Any other comments on the select board? Questions? Any comments online? Questions online about what SeVEDS does? Any programs? Anybody in the room?
I just want to say thank you, Meg.
More than welcome. It's a pleasure. And I will email you this thing that's on my screen that I just wrote today for the town report. So you'll have it for your town report. I got it all on one page. That's like really it's
great job.
It's a pretty small font.
You're probably the first town report to come in too, so that's
well, I'm doing them now because some people wanted them early, so I said I might as well do them all. And so I'm literally going down in alphabetical order, but then as we go to meetings, I was like, someone's going to Willingham tonight. I'm going to get into the W's, But, anyway, I apologize for the size of the font. It's 10.5 font, that's how I can get it on one page, but, you know.
Don't worry, we'll change that.
We do it in 2 pages.
I know, it's, you know, getting it onto one page is, that's the trick, but
Right.
some ninja formatting. Anyway, thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you
for
very
everything
much.
you do.
I would stay longer, but I do have to go back to fetch children.
I
Brattleboro.
totally get it.
Yeah.
I did my running around earlier. Okay, so thank you for that. The next piece is the select board unfinished business. There's the FY 2024 VTrans Mobility and Transportation Innovations Grant, which is Ruby. Coming back.
Hello.
Hi.
So as a reminder, as I said at the last select board meeting, Putney Community Cares was awarded a grant, and the grant is specifically for a shared bike program to some capacity. So it's $20,000 towards that program. There was a certain amount of matching that we would have to do, whether it's organizational or by donation. But $20,000 is what the award is. So when we spoke at the last board meeting, I said that I would connect with folks on the Planning Commission, I think. Yes, the Planning Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And I did speak to Sue Coakley. She and I had a good conversation. The things I wanted to do and I did not do because I was in like Halloween land up until yesterday, is go to West Hill. You know, I think that they would be a really good resource. Also, Pip Bannister works there, and I would love to talk to him about the stuff. But I just haven't had a chance to go in, and he's also a planning commission person. So I did not do that, and the summary of the conversation with Sue, and this was really her informed opinion. You know, she wasn't speaking for the planning commission. She had some reservations around a shared program, mostly around the safety component, because we're talking about bikes on roads that aren't designed with bike paths. I did clarify for her, I think she thought we were talking about children, but this bike program is specifically, you know, was always envisioned for adults. So she talked about some of the initiatives that she sees potentially coming. I know there's a statewide conversation around the Route 5 corridor and things like that, you know, in the future. I think where we landed in the end was, I think that there's, you know, she had some hesitance around, is this the right time? Are we ready? Maybe this could be converted into something more like feasibility exploration around biking. I don't know that we can do that. You know, we've been awarded it for implementation, but certainly I can explore building out a greater portion of the funds that we designate towards, you know, safety and things like that. But there's nothing is going to, we cannot change that there's roads that feel unsafe to some folks. So I think that she shared her hesitance, but she also thought there was a lot of potential, and particularly if there was an initiative to think about safety and think about what, and she had a kind of was pitching an idea of a bikeable Putney. Like how do we make a bikeable Putney? Is that kind of like the, you know, Putney Shines thing? Is that something that could happen? And I think that this, you know, this kind of idea can't become, I don't think we, Putney Community Cares, are interested in spearheading a bikeable Putney campaign. But we have this one piece. So it feels like a piece of the puzzle that, is it helpful to take these funds to try to push something forward and help to like, you know, get interest. I think one of the things that I did express to her is that I think we, you know, Putney Community Cares is ready to embark on this and fail at this. You know, it could be after 2 years, it's like, well, that didn't work, you know. And that's still a learning experience. It could be that we could, if the grantor in VTrans is up to it for it, we could try to convert a good deal of it towards safety exploration and things like that. But I think in the end, they want reduction of fossil fuels and an increase in recreation and wellness, and that's in the implementation phase. So I think that the board of Putney Community Cares is still kind of ready to take this, but if what is in the air is a hesitance similar to what Sue Coakley expressed of her own hesitance, I think they would be much more reluctant to kind of move forward, because we can't. If taking these funds and going forward means 2 years of me butting heads with people who are in the town, like in official capacities about safety, I don't want to hammer this through, but we do see people already on bikes. We do see an opportunity for innovation. And so that's basically where we are. I still don't have a costing estimate around if we move those funds from 20 beater bikes to 5 e-bikes. I don't know whether those are apples to even oranges. I don't even know what they are. But I guess the real question is the hesitance greater than just one person's resistance to bikes on roads?
Well, I could tell you what my personal opinion is, as somebody who does bike, is dumb enough, I guess, to bike from Putney to Brattleboro during the summer months. My focus would be to get more bikes on the road, because if they're not there, then there's no problem. And so if you do have a problem, people pay attention and they solve it. But if you're not there because there's a problem, you know what I mean? There's no visible problem for the majority of folks because they don't see it. So I would be in favor of getting more people on bikes, and also we don't necessarily know what all the safety issues are, especially if you do have like a lot of people on bikes and fewer people on cars. There may be a totally different dynamic going on there, right? We won't know what that is unless we have those people on bikes. And so my personal opinion is go for it. And like you said, it might fail. It might fail for other reasons. It might fail because of, like we were talking about, damage to the bikes, maintenance issues, people aren't using them, people don't feel safe, who knows, right? But I don't know. That's my personal opinion.
I'd say the same. If you're willing to tackle it, and regardless whether it fails or not, the money's there, go for it.
Yeah.
What does the rest of the board think?
I don't have an objection based on safety. That's not my, but did you talk at all to the library about the lending element of e-bikes or something like that?
Yeah, I spoke briefly to, I didn't speak to Emily Zervis. She and I, Halloween, and I just didn't get a chance to sit down with her. I did speak to another staff person who, I think my deeper understanding now of I think that they could be willing to be a site, a location. I don't know that they're willing to be they don't want to maintain, they don't want to become a bike shop. They don't want to be the person, that's part of the tool, having a loaner tool shed means managing a tool shed.
Yeah.
So I don't think they want to manage it. And so if they weren't the managing agent, I think they'd be much more willing to collaborate. That's my sense, but I have not talked to Emily Zervis yet.
Okay, so I would just say that I think the plan that seems like it would get the most traction and would be, I'm just going to put out my 2 cents, buying a smaller number of e-bikes that were managed by the library, not upkept, not
You mean that the
maintenance.
taking out?
Yeah, the taking out thing. You had to check so that there was some accountability for who was taking them in and out. And that, you know, if the money was spent for a bike shed and a smaller number of bikes, that would be my suggestion. But your project, have at it.
Yeah, no, and I will speak directly to Emily. I think that I can't say that vision is something they'd go for or not. And I don't think it's just her. I think it's her board.
Yeah.
Right.
But my sense is that if there you know, clarity around roles and expectations, especially if something goes wrong, is a big part of what that conversation will be. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I guess you got a good sense of the board.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, is there any comments online about a possible shared bike program in Putney? Any other comments in the room? Any other comments in, Karen?
Can I just quickly, it's unfortunate that the state didn't recognize, and I know transportation is important, but they didn't recognize your choice to have funding to pay drivers
Yeah.
to the vulnerable people. That is a little disturbing to me. But we have an opportunity. I also just want to throw out, if you move ahead with this program, and if this board, if we transition and develop a rec department, that program could grow and be something that the town might be able to sponsor, or, you know, because I think the rec department could handle something like that.
Yeah, could do.
So the other thing too is the Route 5 survey
Yeah,
for the bike lanes.
which I filled out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can say that Route 30 is finally paved after spring, summer,
It's-
fall.
I went down today, yes.
And they are doing bike lanes on Route 30.
Good.
So, but once that survey comes out, I think there might be more support for putting bikes on the road.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's coming, I think, especially if we just keep putting more bikes on the road. Something
Right.
has to give.
yeah. And we have to start somewhere too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that one component, it's not clear in the pieces of paper that you were given, but the pitch that we made to VTrans was really to take, you know, the first 6 months of the grant period for design, and then the implementation was like the last 18 months or so. And that could align with something that I talked to Sue about, which, you know, I can't remember if it was the rec league development or some other initiative on the planning commission, but some work that they'll be doing, you know, around thinking around safety and mobility and things like that in the town. So that's exciting. I also am, you know, it's disappointing that the other portion of the second kind of prong of what our proposal wasn't accepted, but the truth of the matter is that when you're paying someone to do something, it could be seen as an employee, and I think that's really why it was just not eligible, because there's just too much risk involved at the state level, and I think we'll find that a lot. And I will say that we're at like dire need of drivers. And we have seen an uptick in a need that involves more repetition. Someone who has PT or someone who has some kind of, you know, regular meeting. And I struggle, and so I'm poking the same 10 drivers who also already do volunteer stuff in other capacities for us. So I don't know how to crack that nut. I don't know how to help the community to understand that the need is real, and just like when we were doing Putney Mutual Aid and people were like, I can do it, we need that I can do it energy again. But how do I ask someone who's exhausted with saying those things to say it again? Like, I don't know. And so I don't, and I'm not convinced that, I know that the drivers we have currently, they don't care about they don't want the funding.
Right.
So it's really kind of thinking about how do we attract people, and every time I've asked for volunteers, that's the answer. Well, can you pay? But there's no one knocking on my door saying, will you pay?
Right.
So I don't know. It is a bummer just to acknowledge that. I know that's not really what we're talking about, but it's still on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Swift, your hand is up.
You're muted.
Swift, you're muted.
Or gone.
Swift, do you want to talk? Going once? Going twice?
Sure, yeah.
There you are, okay.
I'm on Route 5.
Oh.
I was just gonna say, the curiosity of partnering with West Hill Bike Shop. I don't know if that's possible or if that's been investigated. Just putting that reminder that we have this amazing resource of information and possibly people.
It was mentioned that a Halloween happened, so there was some conversations didn't happen, but I believe that's on the list. Thank you. So are there any other comments online?
Yeah, I just want to say, Ruby, I know it's my fantasy that as the website gets built out and we have better communication systems for the town, an ability to easily push out a newsletter more regularly than we've been able to do, that some of these things, that hopefully the communication will help to, that more people will know the need and volunteer, and I don't know, that's my hope.
All right, are there any other comments on the board? Any other comments online? Any comments in the room? Thank you, Ruby, for
Thank you.
back the day after Halloween.
Halloween hangover.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so the next piece is the FY 2024 first quarter financial reports. Karen?
What do you want to know about them? So let me just say right now,
Are they
so this is a 4-month report, and the average is right around 30%. So
30% of what?
Of expenses.
Oh, okay.
Okay, for each budget, all right,
Okay.
overall. So it's still early in the game. Like I said, when I get to December, and if I see things are like, over 50%, then I'm gonna be sending out
We're in the
memos.
first quarter. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So right now, I'm not terribly concerned.
Okay.
It appears that a lot of our revenue has already come in already, which is not a bad thing, but.
For the year or for the quarter?
For the quarter, and we ended up with more payments from the state of Vermont, like the highway, because the storm.
Oh, right.
So they kind of like doubled up on payments, so, but it'll even out.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Okay.
But right now, I don't have any glaring, like, oh my goodness, what's going on there. And most of, if anything is like over budget, I can justify it. And then I'll just keep an eye on those line items to make sure nothing else is charged to them.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Again, if anybody has questions on numbers,
Nate, have you ever seen these before?
come see me.
Yeah, that's sweet.
These are these come out of a program called NIMRIC, and so they're they look like they came off of a dot matrix printer. So once you know the format, they're not too hard to figure out. But if you have any questions, I'm sure Karen will
Yeah,
can
so
walk you through it.
there's revenue and then you have expenses, and your budgets have to balance. So your revenue number has to match your expense number, the bottom line, okay? And,
Or be higher.
well, it can be higher, it depends, you know?
Right.
When revenue is higher, it's always better.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not terribly concerned about it.
Any questions or comments on the select board? About the first quarter financials?
I just have a question.
Sure.
Are there any specific individual items that give you pause at this juncture?
Not necessarily, because sometimes what happens is a line item will get paid out, like 100%, like the first quarter. And then there won't be any other charges to it. So I kind of like, right now, I'm not particularly, worried about that. But by the end of December, I'll have a better sense. And then, of course, your social agency appropriations are all gonna be getting paid out,
Yeah.
before the end of the year. So by mid-year, Charlie,
You'll know better.
a lot of our line items might be already billed out at 100%. But then again, revenue too plays a big role, so if you don't collect all your revenue, but by February, March, that's when I'll start chasing revenue if it hasn't come in yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a process, but the
Right.
first quarter I just kind of like sit back and kind of analyze, but nothing right now.
Okay.
We'll have a more fun conversation in December.
Well, like I did in January, I'll send out a memo to
Yeah.
all the department heads and say no more spending.
Yeah.
If you need something that's over $2,000, you gotta come see me before you purchase it. And I will be doing that with the heat,
Okay.
only because, oil and propane did go down,
Yeah.
but we still don't have enough in the budget, so,
Okay.
and I don't know what kind of winter we're gonna have yet. Some things we can control, other things are just,
We
the
can't
other
control
thing,
the weather.
well, the other thing too is we added, single person medical insurance in the general fund, and we added a child to an employee's single plan, which was not in the budget.
Oh, it wasn't.
So
Okay.
right off the bat, I'm already like, all
Okay.
right, I'm gonna have to backtrack here, but, I look at the bottom line, and like I said, if I can justify most of it, then,
Right.
but if it's just random and it just continues, then there's a problem. But I don't have any concerns.
Nothing right now.
Not right now.
Okay.
No? No. No.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Other comments or questions on the board? Anybody online have any comments or questions about the 2024 first quarter financial reports? Anybody in the room? Okay. Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to Selectboard Reports, we have a bunch of different things here. The first one is the 2024 town meeting calendar, important dates, and that's, I think, basically a reminder to us all that things are happening.
It's a little early, but this
Well, this is good though. So,
Yeah.
let's see. The major things that people would want to be aware of is that January 18th, 2024 is the last day to file with the town clerk any petitions, and they need to be signed by at least 5% of the voters for articles to be included in the town meeting warning. that's for clerks. January 25th is the last day, the first day that the warning and notices can be posted. Anybody running for an elected position need to get their petitions in by January 29th, 2024, and by no later than 5 p.m. to the clerk. Let's see. February 4th is the last day that the warning can be posted for the town meeting. And I believe that's also the day that the ballot needs to be posted too, right?
Yeah, I don't know about the ballot. Right here. I don't know.
Maybe we should get John Johnson here the next meeting just to go over this.
Well, what I'd like to do, if I can interrupt, so we will start town meeting process in our meetings.
Yeah.
This is just for your reference for right now. And I would ask that you have this piece of paper with you.
Okay.
Especially if you see town meeting on the agenda.
Okay.
Because I don't want to keep copying this.
That's fair.
So I don't know if you need a notebook or, but as we start into the town meeting process, this is a document
the important
that I
document.
want to see.
Okay.
Okay.
Here. Goes right in there. Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions or comments on the statutory deadlines for various processes for town meeting and elections?
Yeah, I have, excuse me, one quick question. In the far right column, there are numbers.
Yeah.
For example, the last day to file petitions for articles to be included in town meeting, in the town meeting warning, it says 47 days. That's 47 days from when?
That
town meeting?
is, yeah, that's before the town meeting.
Is that the, okay, so, but each of these days that are not times, dates that are listed here, hours, what are they pegged to?
Statute.
Right.
Statute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all dictated by statute.
Yeah.
So the 24-hour thing, so say you have a petition and you bring it into the town clerk and he says, well, you don't have enough valid signatures. You can correct that within 24 hours of him telling you that. Same thing with petitions, for candidate petitions. You also have a certain amount of time to withdraw.
Right.
You're like, oh wait, I don't really want to run. So and that's all dictated by statute.
But the time frames here,
Yeah.
how do they dovetail with the dates in the first column? In other words, if you, let's see if I can phrase this right. Apart from time frames that are pegged to town meeting day, what are some of these other, how do some of these other dates fit into the calendar?
So we don't have to have town meeting day on the first Tuesday in March. It's tradition.
Yeah.
Well, we typically do.
We typically do, but we don't have to. So say we moved it to say the Saturday or June 1st or something like that. All of these dates, some of these dates would change, and all of these dates would. So anything that pegs out, you have to have like a warning of the town meeting 30 days before you have it.
Right.
So if we decided to have a special town meeting in June, we'd have to have a warning
For that.
30 days in advance.
Yeah.
That's what those are.
Okay.
They're not assuming a specific date and time.
Right.
They're only assuming that, we're assuming that our town meeting is going to be
March 5th.
March 5th. So
Okay.
these dates are
Yeah.
pegged off of these.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
Thanks.
Hopefully I made that.
I was
less
just
clear.
looking at the
It
headings.
is strange, it is odd,
It's-
because
Yeah.
some of them are in relationship to town meeting, and some of them
are
are in
not.
relationship to
Right.
what was stated above.
Right.
You know,
It's
so
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So it's, Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we made that even less clear, so let's, are there any other comments on, I'm sorry, Ruby?
I don't know that this is, let me see my comment, you can decide. I'm putting on my hat as a school board member. When the school districts merged and the budgetary voting for the school was taken out of, the time that during our town meeting, there is a school district annual meeting on March 19th, 2024. And so I realize that's no longer wrapped up into your worries statutorily. I would love to have that date somewhere in the universe of dates that the town is considering as important, important dates to get out. If there was a way to put, it's not a warrant item for the town meeting, but there was a way to kind of put more emphasis on that in the printed town report, that would be great.
Yeah, I know, I agree, yeah, because that, now that it's not wrapped up, there's not as much participation.
And we vote on the floor.
Right.
So there were like 11 people from Putney there last year.
Yeah.
It was pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
But our, percentage-wise, we weren't as bad as Brattleboro. But,
That's good.
but yeah, so I think any amount of kind of getting it in people's minds that, town meeting is no longer where we vote on the school budget, but the school budget has a huge impact on our taxes.
It absolutely does.
And you have to be in person on that meeting to vote at all. There's no proxy voting.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
And did we have a big, bold, boxed with stars around a statement about that in the town meeting report?
I don't think so, no.
we never have. I mean, there's a
Section.
principal.
Yeah.
The principal has a little thing. And maybe the school district might have a thing. But it's not about the budget. It's about like the great work that's going on in schools. But and there is, there is an independent budget review committee. Laura Chapman, you heard from her earlier. She was appointed to it for Putney. All of the things that they do, they're still in process in their budget cycle, just like you. They're not ready to release them until after you print your report.
Right.
So we could work on if there's space to do some kind of a bar or a box or something.
Yeah.
We could work on language. I'm sure that the central office has something that could be, recycled and put in.
That seems reasonable, doesn't it, Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do have a section for the school.
Right, but I'd put it like with the budget,
Okay.
like,
Somewhere, make it more prominent,
connected
maybe.
to not just a school report, but to the budget. We won't be talking about this budget here, but,
I do know, Karen, that we talked in the past about having a space for the school board, like you did last year, where John can speak at the beginning.
Right.
And John's still working, this is only his second year, like working on what should he be saying. It could be that having a moment then to really drive that home in the meeting might help as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Are there more comments online? Where are we still? We're on the calendar and important dates. Questions or comments online? All right, so the next thing is the 2024 boards, committees, commissions, list expirations, and these are just, again, FYI, right? But
I do want to make a statement.
Yeah.
Because on this list, you will see all the folks that are going to expire in 2024. Okay, so some of them are select board advisory committees, which they're up in a year anyway. And then there are going to be some people that, like your planning commission, your Wilson Wetlands, that's a yearly one too. And then on the back side, their annual appointments. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is what our office would like to do is send letters out to the folks that are gonna expire.
Mhm.
And if they want to stay and remain active on the board or committee that they're on, great. Then as a slate in the March meeting, after town meeting, you can vote on it as a slate.
Right,
I don't really want to wait
on the letter?
to try to, no, I don't want to wait, on the letter and try to fill these positions
Yeah.
when they become vacant.
Mm-hmm.
And, Peg, your comment regarding, with a new website, that website might be up by, June or July.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's a long-range plan.
it is a long-range plan, but we might be able to fill vacancies if we have them. But I'm hoping we don't have any, because it is getting harder and harder to find volunteers.
Yeah.
The other point I want to make is the elected positions. So there's one position for Board of Listers. The Cemetery Commissioners, there's going to be 2 that will be available unless one runs. And then, of course, the Select Board has 2 members that will be up for re-election or not.
Right.
So I think we need to push the elected positions if we want to continue maintaining
Mm-hmm.
structure in town government.
Okay, so are you saying that the 2 cemetery commissioners are not planning to run again?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I can tell you Greg Wilson, his term was up last year.
Yeah,
And he
We
stayed
reappoint-
on for a year.
we reappointed him.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
okay. So if anybody wants to run for cemetery commission, that's one place where you can get yourself on the ballot.
I think we have to have a plan on how to get the word out,
Yeah,
and we have to do it early,
Okay.
because we will struggle.
okay. Well, I've been talking about vacancies for years. I'm happy to get the word out. I'm just not sure I'm the best person to do that because I've been doing that and it doesn't seem to be working. But I'm happy to work on that if there's something that we need to.
Right, and I just want to make another comment too. Some of these committees are critical,
Mhm.
and creating new committees right now, depending on what it is, I'd like to focus on this list.
Yep.
So these folks who are up in 2023, like why do some, I'm just looking at the representative boards, some of them were up in 2023.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just
Is that a
oversight.
typo? I'm pretty sure we re-upped
You did,
Stephen
Dan.
Dotson, so he should be there. Daniel Toomey, I believe, we
Yes.
did that one. That's probably just a typo.
I think it's just
Or-
an oversight.
So, okay,
Because see, Elizabeth said is 2022.
right, so they're all of these are up to 2024.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, when do we have our next working session?
Well, we don't have one set up yet. Do you want to?
Well, now you
set
do.
that up? Well, we have.
November 8th.
Oh, we have the.
We have
right, the
next-
plan.
Yeah,
the town
next
plan.
Wednesday we're planning on
Yeah.
working on some budgetary stuff, but we could add something else if you want.
I just wonder whether it would be helpful just to have a whole board conversation about outreach for committees and what ideas we might have about going about that. I don't know.
Sure, we can do
You know,
that. Do you want to try doing
as
that
a conversation
next week?
Yeah.
Just put
Next
that-
week is November 8th, right?
Yes, I know, we're planning on doing budgeting, that week. I mean, we could try for a separate.
Next week is the,
Next week
Is
is a public hearing.
It is,
Yeah.
and then we were planning on tacking budget on top
on
of that.
top of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
somehow that slipped my mind.
we did talk about
I
this.
believe we did, I'm not
We-
arguing
So
that we did.
originally we were talking
That
about
was
whether
my
we
brain.
wanted extra meetings to do budgets or whether we wanted to try to do them.
Right, and we were
so
kind of hopeful,
we
now
talked-
after the last meeting, maybe it will be equally
Even-
as short.
Yeah, so hoping that that's the case, and then we can move on to budgets and other things.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we can make another separate time if we feel like we have.
We can put it on the agenda.
Let's put it on the agenda and see
And if it
how,
gets tabled,
yeah,
because what I'm planning for budgets next week is key focuses like
Mhm.
medical insurance
Yep.
and other things.
Okay.
I'm not gonna have all the numbers because they're just not available
Right.
yet. So we are gonna be going over the process, but what I'd like to do is introduce some key line items that change every year, and we need to make decisions on certain things.
Right.
And I'm gonna leave that to the board.
Okay, thanks a lot. All right, so next week, we're gonna, put that on, just a discussion on community outreach on volunteer positions. And we'll see where we get, how far we get.
Okay.
All right, so is there any other comments on the members list, expirations? Okay, next is ARPA applications, that's got your name on it, Peg.
yeah, we just wanted to report that we did receive an inquiry about eligibility for ARPA funding, and from Katie Eman and the Putney place. And, she had an idea for a project that she was hoping to get funding for and was inquiring about ARPA funds. But it was very clear based on the criteria that we put out in the American Rescue Plan resolution, that that the Putney place did not meet either of the two requirements that we outlined, that ARPA funds will only be awarded to municipal projects or projects put forward by nonprofit organizations that are identified as group-based social service agencies per our 2023 town meeting. So we just wanted to let you know that came in. I communicated with her, and Karen communicated with her, and we encouraged her to apply for, I encouraged her to be in touch with you about applying to be on the town, become one of the town meeting, one of the social service organizations that are supported by town, but that at this point she wasn't eligible to apply, and that I kind of assumed that by the time she got on the list, if she did get on the list through town meeting, that we already would have allocated the funds. These are the funds by then, but hopefully she would be eligible for other funds
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might open her up, if she did get on the list, that might open it up
Yeah.
for other grant opportunities too.
Yeah, so I just wanted to
Yeah.
get that out. And Karen and I talked about putting together some kind of little eligibility checklist, but when I went back to the policy, it's
pretty
so
clear.
crystal clear. I don't think we need,
Okay.
I mean, we will have to have a system by which we will evaluate proposals that come in. But this was just an eligibility question, and it didn't seem like there was any question about.
I mean, if we continue to get questions like that, I guess it's not, we'll have to make it a little clearer, right?
Right.
But yeah.
Well, I think with the matrix, that'll help,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I mean, that will help when it comes to evaluating
Right.
projects.
But we
But for
still
just-
have to move ahead and try to create one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, for the evaluation of the
Right.
projects,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I didn't
Yeah.
feel like we needed a matrix for
No,
the
Basic
basic eligibility when it's extremely clear right
Right.
there. Yeah. I mean, there might be eligible projects that we choose not to support, but that's a whole nother issue. And I'm sure we'll get to that in the new year.
I'm sure we will. All right. Are there other comments on that? Any comments online? Any comments in the room? Okay, moving on to the draft non-working holiday calendar, which is with VLCT. I did see there was, oh, you did put it in here. Okay.
It's
So-
not with VLCT.
It's not?
Did you see the email?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So there's,
well, I mean, they gave us a clearer response than they did the first time. So I'll just read this. So it says, so basically Karen wrote back and said that the select board would like a more, a thorough legal and constitutional review of this draft policy. And the VLCT staff attorney wrote back and said, since we only charge for reviews that take longer than an hour, I took another look at this resolution and it took less than an hour. Seeing as it's ultimately a discretionary document, e.g. Select Board recommends to itself to be considered when, and there's no standards or state law requirements for this type of optional resolution, I don't think there's any constitutional or legal issues with adopting this resolution. There's certainly the chance of political blowback. If adopted, the important thing is that the Select Board and other committees and commissions actually implement this resolution equally and fairly. In other words, it should consider all the holidays on its calendar it uses equally. So I guess we didn't get an answer on whether a link was better. Because we were talking about not maintaining our own list rather than having a private organization, I think, with a list that we might refer to. So that's still an outstanding question, but my takeaway from that is that there's no legal liability that we're getting ourselves into by adopting an optional resolution. Political blowback is a different thing, but so I guess I do still want to get that answer, the link versus the town maintenance. I don't know if he understands that question.
I don't know, because that was way back early on.
Did you say anything about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you mind just getting a clarification on that piece? Like if the town doesn't maintain its own list, is there a difference? Is it better for the town not to maintain its own list?
Yeah.
And then, as far as I'm concerned, we can put it back onto unfinished business to either accept or reject it.
Once we have the answer.
Once we have that answer, yeah.
For the town to maintain its own list. So I guess we have to answer that question first. Is it just this short list or is it the link, you know?
Right.
And who's maintaining that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know that either. That's the mushy part of this whole thing that it
Right.
gets a little,
because
mushy.
as town manager, I'm not.
I wouldn't expect it to be you. I think it would, if anybody, it would be the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee maintaining this list. But I think that might be why we might want to go with somebody else's list if we go with anything.
I like that, because in here it just says contact the town manager if you want something included on this list. So
Right.
I think that it would be more appropriate for the Equity Inclusion Committee or like
Right.
the online list.
Yeah. Yeah.
So equity and inclusion. And I agree with that,
Yeah, that makes sense.
because I think, yeah.
And maybe we don't even, well, let's see if we get an answer to that question, but
Okay.
maybe if we are leaning towards not trying to maintain our own list, we don't need to worry about it. But let's get
All
the
right.
question answered anyway. Swift?
I was just gonna say, I think that I personally am leaning towards using someone else's list. That's the one that we mostly use is really exhaustive, and it's basically like, here's an example of some holidays, feels much lighter than us having to do the lift of creating a list, making sure it's exhaustive as best we can. So that is what I'm leaning towards, and so in that situation, we wouldn't have to, we could just take out the language of, if something's missing from this list, it's just here's a resource. That's what I'm leaning towards, but I'm just my personal opinion.
Okay. All right, thank you. Are there other comments online about the draft non-working holiday calendar? There's no public in the room anymore. Anybody else have any comments on that? All right. Draft flag policy with VLCT, that's got your name on it, Nate.
It does still have my name on it.
It does.
I haven't seen anything new yet.
I saw an estimate.
Right,
Right.
and they need the backstory.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay, so that is you, Nate.
That is me.
That is you, I'm sorry.
Well, okay, I'm messed
So, yeah, the
Yeah, that's what
backstory
it's-
or history
up. Yeah.
of how and why,
And who should I send that to?
you can send it to me, because VLCT has this whole new portal, and it's not friendly
It's
at
not
all.
awesome.
No, it's like, it's, don't go.
At one
don't.
point, it wasn't working with Chrome at all.
I'm curious what the why they need a backstory to evaluate a policy.
They're attorneys, I don't know. I have to know.
I mean,
But
they want to know, like,
we want to
what-
know if it's legal.
Right, I mean, do they
Yeah.
want to know, I mean, well, I guess that's, I think there was a little bit more than just a I mean, I think there was an explanation as to what they were looking for, like, what policies we might have used for,
Yeah, how we created it, why, and in back history to getting to where we are right now. So is there conversation? I mean, it almost makes sense for Nate to, I don't know if you're registered on the VLCT portal.
you should be able to be, you should be able to get in there.
And I can give you the reference number,
Okay.
and then maybe you can go on and start the conversation, because.
They will chat with you if, like, they want, it's not just email. Well, it used to be,
You can't get a hold of anybody over
Not
there.
anymore?
No, you get voicemail.
okay. Well, I mean, they've called me in the past, once the conversation got too convoluted.
Mm-hmm,
Like, let's talk. I'm like,
Right.
that's a good idea.
yeah. So yeah, I'll give you the number, and then maybe you can just carry it forward.
Okay.
Because going through me, it's just like, the back and forth is, it just takes too much time.
Yeah, and if it's not budgetary, like, they're, I mean, you're the authorized agent for, the budgetary pieces, so asking for the initial review
Right.
is
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
something you would need
Yeah.
to do, but the backstory and the why do we want to do this, other resolution, they can talk to us. That's,
Right.
yeah. Okay. Swift?
I was just gonna remind Nate that I had volunteered to help if that's something you're still looking for support.
Yeah.
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 I don't
Okay.
want to bring that up, but.
All right.
Available.
It's all good. There's, it's still in process, and it will get done. All right. Any other questions questions or comments about the flag policy? Okay, we have the draft sidewalk policy here, which has got Peg's name on it.
I got nothing.
No, Peg and I haven't met. I know you wanted to start the process, so.
Yeah, I have a note here. Talk to Karen, RE sidewalk.
So we can set up a time, and just, after you review it.
Okay,
Sounds good.
will do.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so are there other reports that people have? Meg did make a mention that that I've am involved on this Southern Vermont Get on Board program. Our first meeting was in Townsend. It was excellent. There was a presentation by somebody whose name I don't remember, on community wealth building, which was really fascinating. It was a great opportunity to meet other community-minded folks and get ideas on resources and personalities and how to run meetings and all that good stuff. So there's another one this coming Saturday, and it's in Manchester, Vermont. And
Nice.
Ted Brady
Yeah, yeah.
of VLCT will be there to speak, and I also believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion is on the list, so that'll be fun. See what happens then. Yeah, that's all I have.
Yay.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, I have a question, and I apologize if this goes back to something that we already talked about, but the discussion we had on SeVEDS, in the document that was in the packet, there's a request from them to appropriate for the town, our town, to appropriate $7,851 to support them. Have we included that in a budget? Have we voted on that?
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget.
We do
There
that
is a
every year.
line item.
Okay,
Yeah. And it's based on population. so
right,
it's-
that's what it indicates here.
Yeah.
And it actually went down, because the census.
The
went down.
population went down. No.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and I made sure any assessment with population going down, that our assessment went down.
Good.
It's like,
We have less people.
I didn't,
Yeah.
hey, you gotta be fair, right? If it's
Yeah.
based on population and
Yeah,
the census is saying that's what we have,
yeah.
that's what I'm going with.
Okay. All right, are there other reports? Does anybody have any comments on the select board reports? All right, hearing none. Do we need an executive session? You don't have anything there, do you? Okay. Okay, so our next meeting date it's a special meeting on November 8th, which is the second town plan public hearing. It's at 5:30. We will have it on Zoom and in the town hall. And then we will be closing that public hearing and going into a special select board meeting to talk about budgets and possibly another agenda item that we identified earlier that I've already forgotten. Committees. Talking about committees.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
Community outreach.
Community outreach, right. So, and then our next regularly scheduled meeting is November 15th, also on Zoom and in Town Hall at 5:30. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone.